Now, the final volume of the State Capture Commission's report is to be handed to President Cyril Ramaphosa at 4 p.m. today. It was due on Wednesday last week, but was delayed by Commission Chair Chief Justice Raymond Zondo. He says he's needed more time to check the report before handing it over. eNCA reporter Govan Whittles joins us now to discuss this further. Good morning, Govan. So what exactly are we expecting today? I remember it's the likes of SSA. What else do we expect to come out of that report?
It's the final installment of the report, and it's dealing with a few of the most important issues that the Commission heard testimony on. Obviously, the State Security Agency matter is top of mind, and what the Commission will do regarding Arthur Fraser's allegations that he's been implicated but wasn't afforded an opportunity to reply, and how those recommendations will be structured is obviously very interesting. But they'll also deal with the testimony related to the SABC, to the Estina Dairy Farm project in the Free State, as well as the controversial Waterkloof Air Force Base landing by the members of the Gupta family who flew their guests here to attend a wedding at Sun City, and then the Passenger Rail Agency of South Africa, PRASA, which people who have fought against the state capture have said was used to loot money during the second term of former President Jacob Zuma's administration. So that's what's expected today, but of course there's been some controversy leading up to the release of this report. John Steenhuisen of the Democratic Alliance saying it's very concerning that the President and the Chief Justice spoke and had a meeting before the release, and accused the President of trying to actually intervene in the release of the report, saying it's highly unusual and shouldn't be allowed. The Chief Justice, in a statement, saying that, of course, he just wanted to check for quality purposes, and he wasn't able to do so because he was sitting with the JSC hearings the day before. But we are expecting it today at the Union Buildings at 4 p.m.
And we saw how that played out. We had the State Capture Commission also releasing a statement on behalf of the Chief Justice, saying it was, in fact, a telephone call. There was no physical meeting between the two gentlemen, which the presidency also corrected and said, yes, indeed, it was a telephone call. But then what if we had to recap, what would have been the more prominent recommendations from the previous installments of the State Capture Report?
Just looking at part 4 of the State Capture Report is very interesting because it deals with who was to blame for the collapse at Eskom. And one of the potent findings that it makes is that the collapse or capture of Eskom by the Gupta family wouldn't have been possible if the Gupta family had not developed a friendship with former President Jacob Zuma. And the Chief Justice says that it is clear that the Gupta family knew that they would have to get close to the President in order to facilitate their capture of Eskom. The report makes concrete findings, recommends prosecution or at least investigations towards prosecution for Machela Koko, for Anoj Singh, for Brian Molefe related to the Eskom debacle, and then also points the blame to the 2014 board of Eskom and say that they should be investigated for not fulfilling their fiduciary obligations. And then it goes a step further. Some of the more prominent politicians that have been implicated include the ANC's national chairperson, Govan Whittles, related to the upgrades, security upgrades at his private home. Govan Whittles is taking the report on review. He said he would do so. Then there's Thabang Makwetla, whose judgment was questioned by the Chief Justice in the report. But in that case, Thabang Makwetla saying he's not taking it on review, but is calling on the police to prosecute and investigate, and believes that they'll come up empty-handed. Those are just some of the recommendations. Another noteworthy one that we can't really skip is the noting by the Chief Justice that there was a concerted effort to capture the National Treasury, but that effort was resisted by former Finance Minister Nhlanhla Nene, and the testimony of Ebisi Jonas, the former Deputy Finance Minister, also accepted here, and the Chief Justice really applauding the work that was done to resist the capture at the National Treasury, particularly by Pravin Gordhan as well. That's just some of the highlights. Of course, it's voluminous. There's 3 volumes before that, and we'll try to break down all of that through the day as we expect the release of the final volume.
All right, it's 4 p.m. Then everybody should have your reminders, because I think it's that much anticipated, particularly because of what has been happening around Arthur Fraser. We'll certainly catch up with you a bit later on, Govan, just to get the details after 4 p.m. Thank you very much. That's our reporter, Govan Whittles.